Parshat Shlach. Okay, let's get into it. Moshe Rabbeinu goes to Hashem and tells him, the Yidden came over to me and asked me to send spies to check out the land of Israel to see if this is the land it was all made up to be. Eretz Zavas Chalav Dvash, a land of flowing milk and honey, and they want to know all about it. And Hashem tells him, Shlach lecha, send for your sake. If you feel like it, go ahead and send. And we see how Moshe Rabbeinu is given a choice. He gets to choose either right or left, and he's not really sure what his choice is going to bring. And based on that choice, he'll have to see like what the consequences or the rewards are based on it. And Hashem says, "This is not my idea. I don't feel like there's a need for this. But if you see it as a need, and as a human being you'll sleep better because of it, then go ahead. But think about the long-term effects. Think about not just tonight's sleep. Think about the sleep of 1,000 years from now. Think about what the consequences would be, and have that all in mind." We see the same thing later on as Moshe Rabbeinu goes and collects these 12 people, and he sets aside Hoshea ben Nun. He takes Hoshea and he gives him another letter to his name, Yehoshua, so he should be saved from the atzas meraglim, from the idea, from their intent. And we see how when there's an intent, when there's something that they want to do, that intent is based off a choice as well. They chose a certain path based on how they felt at the time. The Gemara says that the Meraglim, all they wanted was for Moshe Rabbeinu to stay with them in the Midbar. They felt like they had so much going on. So let's think about it. They had just been freed. We're talking about a couple of months, just over a year plus that they've been out of Egypt, out of Mitzrayim, and they don't know what freedom is yet. Freedom is not just that I can go and do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. Rather, freedom is knowing what makes you a free person. What things will I do that won't keep me up at night? They won't bother me. My choices won't keep going around in my mind, driving me crazy until until I don't know when, until you figure out how to fix them. And people choose choices that are much easier for them at the moment without knowing what type of rabbit hole they may fall down. But before we go into that, let's talk about what freedom really means. When the Yidden were in Egypt, there was definitely no freedom. They were under somebody else's watch the entire time. Their time wasn't theirs. Nobody cared for them. They were killed. The worst stuff were happening to them. And they had no life. 210 years, 400 years, they had no life. Now, as they are finally free, they're free to go and leave Mitzrayim. Where are they going to? What type of freedom do they have? Are they able to do whatever they want? No, they're in the desert. Are they allowed to do whatever they want? No, Hashem, through Moshe, tells them a whole bunch of things, what to do and what not to do. And this starts creating a certain conflict within them. Wait a second, we believe in Hashem, we've seen him on the Red Sea, we've seen Kriyas Yamsuf, by Yaminu B'Shem of Moshe Avdar, we do believe in Hashem, but we still feel like if you're going to tell us what to do, if you're going to give us a whole bunch of commandments, and our belief is not that strong, and we have questions, we have thoughts, and we don't exactly know what freedom means, we still need Moshe Rabbeinu to stick around and help us out, because Moshe Rabbeinu was the guy who spoke to Hashem. He understood Emunah 100%. There was no jokes with him. He saw Hashem. He spoke to him face to face. He saw his back on the mountain. So you have the Yidden over here who are like, okay, we have a Moshe Rabbeinu who is the epitome of Emunah, and we are humans. We are people who were released from slavery, and without the guidance of Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't know how we would be able to live. So this entire idea of sending spies in order to keep Moshe Rabbeinu around, they come back and they give a bad word, a bad report on the land, they'll come back, Moshe Rabbeinu will be forced to stay, and now they'll be able to continue building their Emunah. But we see, even with the best intention, their idea was to get closer to Hashem, eventually throughout this entire process, by going and choosing, by creating a plan that goes against the plan of Hashem, they had just opened a rabbit hole that they may not see themselves out of pretty soon. There's the point of choices was something that was pretty new to them. For a whole bunch of years, there was no thing as choice. If they would make a choice, they would probably be killed. If they would decide on their own what they wanted, they wouldn't end up happy or winning or victorious. It's now that they finally feel, oh, we are free, so we have the right to make a choice. And the truth is, when we are with Hashem, do we even want choices? Do we want that freedom in our lives to be able to say, I could do whatever I want? Or if we choose to live with Hashem, do we say, He knows exactly what I need, He's the one in my life, and that's His way is the only way, and I'll choose right. And let's dig in a little bit deeper. What does making a choice mean? What does it mean? What happens when we make a choice? When a person chooses to go and do something good, he says, I'm going to go and do a favor for a neighbor. I'm going to go and help out my wife. I'm going to go and learn a little bit. All these choices mean that I'm going to spend time correctly right now. After spending this time, or during spending this time, we may have other choices that come up. Okay, you're learning, but somebody else wants your time right now. So you have a choice. Do I continue or do I go to the other person? And we have to weigh what is the right thing to do over here. And sometimes both of these things are good. Should I learn or should I spend time with my kids? They're both wonderful. And not just that, the Torah says, you should speak to your kids about learning. But then again, what if your kid just wants to play Lego? Is that something that fits the part of of being a father, or being a mother, or being a caretaker? There are so many choices that we can make, and we always want to choose right. But we never know. If I'm going to choose, who knows what my next choice is going to be, and what I'll have to do in order to fix things if they don't go well. So we have all these questions regarding choices, and so we go into the Gemara. The Gemara says mitzvah gereres mitzvah and avera gereres avera. One mitzvah brings another mitzvah, and one avera brings another avera. Meaning, if we choose right to do one mitzvah properly, we will eventually be thrust into another one. We will go from one mitzvah to another, to another, to another. It doesn't mean that the next mitzvah just comes automatically. It means that we have a choice to do another mitzvah. We just did a favor for someone, and then while driving, we're like, you know what? This person needs something else. We speak to them, we hear that they have some other things going on in their life, and we are inclined to go and help them a little bit because we feel close to them, we feel like we want to help more, and we choose right the entire time. But we have to remember that when responsibilities come up, things that are important to us, things that are important to Hashem, that we have to learn how to weigh them properly. Who comes first? What comes second? And then we have to have that schedule properly, know exactly who gets my time, how do I use my time, and how I go about helping everybody and being the best person I can. Now with the Meraglim, they made a choice to say, we want Moshe Rabbeinu to stick around with us for another infinite amount of time, and they didn't even know how long that is. And in order to create that choice, they would have to go and do something negative in order to make it happen. They would have to come back and say something bad about Eretz Yisrael in order for their plan to work out. So all they have to do is say one bad thing which would make their plan be. So let's take this and try to apply it to a government. Let's say there are two people running for office. One guy is all about the people, then you have another who is all about power. Of course, the person who is here for power is not going to admit it. First of all, there's no one person who could take power. There has to be a group, and in order for this group to be successful, they need to persuade the nation, they need to persuade the electorate to follow them. And by telling people that we're going to enslave you and we're going to take all your information and we're going to lock you down, that's not a winning message. So in order to make things appear reasonable and true, they have to go and make their names very acceptable, and that it shouldn't make you think that they mean wrong. They'll speak about Planned Parenthood, which has nothing to do with parenthood. It has nothing to do with parenthood. It has Planned Singlehood. And so on and so forth. We don't have to get into it. But in order to keep their lie of power, they have to go and produce a whole bunch of stories in order to cover that. What if somebody goes and finds out their plan? What if somebody hears what they are up to and actually digs down, does the proper journalism? What would they end up with? What would they see? They would clearly notice how this entire party is built on a lie. It's built on power. It's built on the wrong thing. It's built on evil rather than good. And in order to protect that evil, in order to protect the power that they so dearly try to achieve, they'll be pushed into doing certain things that are even more illegal than just making one tiny lie or changing a tiny word here and there. They would resort to, of course, lying, stealing, murder, anything that passes by them, in order to in order to keep their power in place. So you see how one choice goes about leading to more and more choices. If we build ourselves on a lie, then we have to make sure this lie is protected. And once you go down the side of lies, you end up opening a very deep hole of bad, evil, and terrible things that follow that. And that's what the Meraglim did. They didn't even realize. All they did was say, we're just going to make one tiny lie and we're going to speak bad about the land of Israel. And you see what ended up happening. They ended up going against Moshe himself, the one that they wanted to be with them for whatever long they wanted him to stick around with them so that their emunah and their faith could grow and be stronger forever. That entire premise of their original lie fell apart just by the fact of them lying. And they went down a deeper and deeper rabbit hole where they started talking bad about Moshe and made the entire nation turn their backs on Moshe, and that which led to a whole bunch of people dying and losing their life. And for the next 40 years, the entire generation was killed out, and besides for Yeshua and Kalev. So we see how choices affect over here, and we see how Hashem alluded to all of this in the beginning when he told Moshe, Shlach lecha anashim. You see, when there are choices involved, what do we do? What are we technically doing while we're making a choice? We're saying, I understand God's plan, but since I'm human, I get to make a choice in my own life. Okay? So sometimes it isn't clear for us, what is God's plan? We find ourselves in life and we're like, what should we do? We really don't know. We want to be the best person. We don't know if I choose right or if I choose wrong, if I choose left. I don't know if left is wrong or right is right. Nobody knows. And we have to go into life and do whatever comes up and allow that reality to teach us the lessons that we're supposed to learn. But when we know clearly that Hashem's plan is to send us into Eretz Yisrael, He wants us, go in, I want you to live there, you're going to have a great life, this is the land of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, you're going to go in and prosper. There is no need to make any extra plans. There is no need to go and make man-made choices. Because overall, choices in this world are not real. The things that we do, the things that we go through are all by Hashem. Hashem wants us to do these things, and that's why we do it, and that's why those things happen, no matter if you chose to do it or not. And even if you make choices, we made choices when we were 20, and we look back 10 years later and we're like, wow, how did I get into this? What was I thinking? We made choices at 25, and we look back and we ask ourselves, what were we thinking? How about today? When we make choices today, we feel like we're fully in control. Just like we felt when we were 20 and we were 25, we're always in control. We feel like, oh, I'm in control over here. I make my choices. I'm the one leading my own life. But after all, after 5, 10, 20 years, we look back and we're like, wow, I was so young and dumb. And we learn that we don't want to control our lives. We don't want to have that choice. But the world is made by choices. We can't just sit in our house and think about all the ways of, if I do this, and then for the next 6 months go down that rabbit hole, and if I do that, then go down for another 6 months, and then we don't end up doing anything. We have to actually do things. We have to get out and do, and we have to choose the smartest thing that we know right now and go about doing it. And if we see that we were wrong, we break down what we just did, and we try doing it again. We don't want to be insane and just continue doing the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. We want results. We want a good life. And our choices will lead us there. And that's why Hashem gave us the choices. He wants us to know that we are here on earth, on a physical world, in time, and the next minute is all about, what will I choose? Will I choose right or will I choose wrong? The Chovos HaLevavos talks about this. It's not about the result. Your reward does not come about the result. The reward is about your choice and your resolve. Is it about me choosing right and me getting up to do it? So we see Shlach lecha anashim, Moshe Rabbeinu, he has a choice. Did he choose right or did he choose wrong? Well, as we look back right now, we know Hashem had a plan exactly how things should work out. And exactly what he wanted is what happened, and there's no way we could change history, and there's no way history would have been any different. So we have to accept the life that we are in. We're not about the past, and we're not about the future. We are about right now. Stick with Hashem, follow his plan, listen to him. If you know that this is something Hashem would not want you to do, you say, I'm not going to do it. If you know that Hashem wants you to do this, you say, I will do it. And if you don't know, you make the cheshbon in your mind, you think about it, you're like, okay, I feel like this would be the best choice for me, so I will go about doing it, no matter what the rewards or consequences are. If I win, I will not take it upon me as it was my choice and my brilliance, and if I lose, I won't be so broken. I'll just be, okay, this is exactly what Hashem wanted, and this is the story I'm in, and these are the lessons I'm going to learn. And with time, we become stronger and better and greater. May all of our choices be the will of Hashem, and may He guide us through every moment of life that we live. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.